All right, everyone. Welcome once again. With me today on the Exit Your Way Roundtable, I've got Nick Dorsey, friend and fellow Seahawk fan. Welcome, Nick.
Hey, thanks for having me, Damon. Appreciate it. Yes.
This is a good day because this is Thursday, and what's happening at 5:20 Pacific time today?
Seattle Seahawk football.
Yes,
against the team where I live in Arizona. So this is just great, man. I mean,
yes, it is.
It's going on with the neighbors. It's a good time. So this is great. Got the Seahawk flag flying out front. So a lot of good times.
Fall flag is flying high out in front of my house as well. Between that and the Cougars flag, I actually have two going, but you got to keep it going. You got to keep it going.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It was good to get you on, man, because it's kind of funny. I just thought about it. We first met in person at a Seahawks game.
Yes, sir. And then we've been to multiple Seahawk games.
After that, yeah.
I mean, we've had some adult beverages at Seahawk games. We have sat next to each other for a game. We've ventured to each other's seats. Good times.
Yeah, no doubt. So the Seahawks affinity runs deep. The thing that's cool about is that when I met you, you were running the facilities for a cool manufacturing company in the Seattle area, and you've been your facilities background is really pretty neat.
I saw it.
Hold up. Who puked on this screen? Oh, yep.
I mean,
whatever you want.
I mean, it's all good. I mean,
it is all good. I do have to say, I am impressed with the Las Vegas Raiders this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun when we actually can have fans in, because they're actually not going to have any fans there because everybody's going to travel to Vegas to watch their team. Yeah. So it's going to price them right out. So it's kind of nice.
Yeah, but it is. I mean, that I'm pretty impressed with their play this year. It's good.
Yeah, they're playing well. So David Carr's playing pretty good, and that team just putting along. So
yeah. So okay, we got Brandon Ross. This is a guy I know in Memphis. He said she's saying load up on the Hawks tonight.
Oh yeah, home game. I think they're wearing their neon green uniforms, so they always love they play great in those. Yep. So I mean,
they do like that.
They got some people coming back off injury, but it is a short week, so it makes it tough. So
yeah, I don't know. I think that we've lost 2 in a row. We don't do that very often, and we're playing at home on a night game. I'll bet if you look at all the stats and stuff, we do pretty well on those. And so here's Ira again. He has to remind us that the Raiders are 6-3.
So are the Seahawks.
So the Seahawks, we're doing the same. So that's good. And I do have to give them props. They beat the Chiefs. That's a great team.
Yep, absolutely.
That's a great team. So we can get off on football.
No, it's all right. We can talk football all night. It's all good.
Yeah, because I'll just stop there. So, your background is really interesting, though, Nick, because you've been in facilities management for a long time, and when we first met, I remember talking about you'd been in a couple casinos doing the casinos here in Washington, and I was been intrigued by those just because I have an inkling of what's behind those things to keep them running. And they're a 24-hour facility, a lot of them, and there is just a ton of connected electronics in there. So what were some of the crazy things that you learned in the casino industry that you just go, wow, I would have never thought of that?
I think the biggest thing that blew me away with casinos, obviously not the Aura casinos, because it's just a different beast in itself, but the server rooms and the UPS rooms were, if you've never been around any big companies like IT companies or anything that dealt with servers like that, it was unreal. We had 1,500 to 2,000 square foot rooms that were just filled with servers, and other ones that were just filled with the UPS backups and the batteries and everything, just the racks for them, and the amount of AC that you got to keep going in there because you want to keep the temperature around 70 degrees, and add in economizers like during the winter time to bring in that cool air like that. I mean, finding different ways and techniques to keep those rooms at the temperatures they need to be. So they ran. And, you know, a lot of people, if you don't know what the UPS is, it's the backup for all the slot machines. It's the backup for like computers and everything. So,
Yeah.
And I believe, you know, if the power went out, we had 30 minutes, you know, for the generators to pop on, which they'd pop on automatically, but you usually get 30 to 60 minutes of UPS backup, you know, just in case a generator didn't kick on for some reason. And that brings up another thing, the how much we had to test and run and just make sure our generators were working too, especially in Washington. One of the casinos I worked at, power went out quite a bit. So you know, there was a lot of money that went into generator PMs, a lot of money that went into our UPS stuff, you know, changing batteries once a year, big car size batteries, you know, so just interesting. And then going into different rooms like the pause room where all the data goes into. That was a very highly secured room. Only a handful of people had access to it. But man, that room, I mean, you want to talk about wires everywhere. You just want to, I mean, it just gave you a headache walking into it, looking at it, you know? So, but just impressive, all that stuff. Yeah.
I imagine. And you make me think about this a little bit. And I'm thinking about their need to keep power on in the UPSs and then the generator backups. That's got to be very similar to something like a hospital almost. Not that it's a life or death situation, but you know, you can't just have 1,000 people in the casino and the power go out.
No, you can't. And if you look at from the casino side, we figured one of the casinos I worked in, it was $10,000 if a slot machine went down. $10,000 of revenue. So think about that. If you have a whole section go down, you got 500 slot machines in that section at $10,000 a pop, your revenue is going out. And the maintenance team is not going to be, how would I say that? A very favorable department at that moment. So there was a lot of stuff that we put in to prevent that from happening, you know, to make sure everything was up and running. I mean, obviously there's things you can't, I mean, it just happens and you can't stop it from happening. But I mean, we took all the measures we could physically to make sure at least the generators worked. We had enough backup in the batteries. We did what we needed to do up to a point of a transformer blowing or something, you know?
Something that is catastrophic kind of thing.
Absolutely. Which has happened before, and that's not fun.
Oh man! No matter what.
That's working 3 days straight with really no rest. So
Well, we got Ira's wishing he could post pictures in the comments, but
it's all good. We took it on a little earlier before the show, so we got that taken care of.
Yep, you guys had the gift war going on there, but I'd never get into a gift war with a media guy.
You know, but I found some, and I never do them hardly at all. You know, being now having a desktop and working everything from that instead of my phone, it's helped the game out a little bit. It makes it a little more fun. So I mean, you think about the casinos and you think about these slot machines; they have to be built pretty tough, really, for the fact that the repetitive hits on the buttons, the people spilling drinks on the damn things, whatever it is. It was constantly replacing buttons, even though that wasn't the maintenance department. That was more of video gaming devices, VGD, whatever you want to call them. They had their own team who took care of that. But any electrical issues that happened within them, we would work on them. And you're absolutely correct. People would punch those machines. They would kick them. I mean, there's a reason why those machines cost a lot of money. There's absolutely, I mean, you spend a lot of money on buying just one machine, depending on the size, you know, you're looking anywhere from 20 grand to 80 grand, depending on the type of machine it is, you know, and think about it. There's some casinos that have 3,000-4,000 machines, you know, and you can rent them and you have to pay the distributor, if it's Bally's, IGT or whatever, a cut of your winnings. So at the beginning, it's a good thing to do. But if you're bringing in a ton of money on it, you need to buy those things straight out at some point, you know? So, but yeah, I've seen people punch. I've seen people put their fists through the screens and then get their hands stuck in there. It's like, then they're trying to say it wasn't their fault. I'm like, your fist is in the machine, dude. I mean, come on.
I fell into it, bro.
Yeah, kick them, buttons break. I mean, the buttons, you just look at it, it's a consumable. It happens. I mean, a little bit of alcohol, people losing money, not a good combination. So
that's for sure.
Yeah.
And you make a good point is most people don't understand the industry behind casinos too, because I remember a friend of mine was actually helping one of the slot machine manufacturers in Nevada do some work. And you know, there's several $100+ million companies making slot machines every year. And they jamming those things out. And it's just for the US market. But so when you look at that, and then, you know, when we met, you were working with a sizable aerospace manufacturer that was doing, you know, carbon fiber work and machining of the carbon fiber, machining of metals, I believe too, and then assembly and other stuff like that. And you're responsible for a fair amount of facilities, right?
Yeah, we had 4 properties with 10 different buildings on them. So we had a lot of different machining areas. We had a lot of different clean rooms. We even had a daycare. So so, you know, dealing with a lot of that, you know, and working with that made it a lot of fun. But, you know, going into an industry that I was never in before, you know, and they brought me in to build a facilities department and build all the preventative maintenance and the policies and procedures, you know, and bringing the right people, you know. So learning CNC machines, learning autoclaves, industrial ovens, not like the oven in your house, you know, and ply cutters and everything. Man, what a whole different world. But God, it was so interesting. You know, I mean, I took autoclaves, like, you know, with my plumbing background, I looked at them. They're very similar to boilers. You know, but with just a high end program on them, you know, interface system, you know, so learning the interface systems, learning how those all combine together with rise of heat rate and all that stuff, which I know a lot of this is somewhat music to your ears because this is your background from way back. So, you know, it was a lot of fun, and I felt I really excelled at it because it was something new and I just loved it. You know, it was just like every day there was something new. Yeah, the machines stay in the same spot, obviously. Your assembly is the same. But man, I tell you what, just all of a sudden now, you know, you have $1 million machine, something goes down with it one day, 3 weeks later, something else goes down. Like, whoa, I didn't even know that existed on this damn thing. So, you know, trying to figure stuff out. But, you know, Damon, it's amazing. You can fix $1 million CNC machine by YouTubing a video. It is unreal. And that's what we did a lot of. We brought people in to train us, but, you know, you couldn't wait 3 days and for a machine to be down to fly somebody in from like North Carolina or Florida or something. You know, you had to figure something out here. And even the third-party vendors that worked with the distributors here were so bogged up because they couldn't find the talent to work on a lot of these machines because they're so, like, our machines were so specialized to us. We had custom built machines. So, you know, it was at a point to where you can call people, they could have an idea, but they're in the same boat you were. It's like, this machine's not around. I've never seen this before. So why would we call them in to spend all this time on the phone troubleshooting it with the manufacturer when we could do it and save that money and get the same result at the end? So, so I mean, but that was a lot of fun working with that. And
so in that business, then they had a maintenance department, but they didn't have the PMs, but you were responsible for the whole maintenance department and everything in there.
They had what they called a maintenance department, which was 2 people who really took advantage of it, and it was 4 properties and wasn't around a lot. There was nobody really leading the department. It was just there, and they were more reactive than proactive. So I worked with one of the owners at a previous company. You know, we didn't work together for like a couple of years. He gave me a call. What do you think about this? This is what we're trying to do. Are you up for the challenge? Went back and forth for a couple months, took on the challenge, and basically he went in and said, the slate's clean, man. Just start it from the ground up, do what you need to do, do what's best for the company. So I feel very fortunate on that because a lot of people don't get that much freedom. And we decreased a lot of downtime on machines. I mean, I brought in some pretty cool people that I used to work with in the past too, that came and worked with us, and we had a really good time. We learned a lot and we really enjoyed it. It was great, you know, and if I wasn't on a mission to move to Arizona, I would still be working for that company. I would not leave them. They're absolutely just fantastic to work for. So very appreciative of everything they've done for me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. And it's a one of those things too, where not many people have the opportunity to move in and build a department or a function like that from the ground up. Mm-hmm. So I've got to believe that you learned some things doing that was really new to you, that you didn't learn in your previous job. So what are some of the things in there that you learned that you were like, man, now I really, that helped me a lot? What were some of those things?
You know, a lot of it was how to properly develop a policy and procedure, you know, to an individual machine, you know, because like when I was in casinos and everything, the machines were the machines.
Yeah.
You know, the AC was the AC, you know, or the units, RTUs were the RTUs. They're all the same, repetitive. Don't get me wrong. That's the best way to do it. Makes it nice and easy. But now you get into the aerospace industry where we had Onsruds, we have Haases, we had, I forgot some of the names of them now, but Thermwoods, you know, we had all these different types of machines where you had to create a policy and procedure almost for each individual machine. So not making kind of bland policies and procedures, which were the same, it was really researching each machine because you know, each manufacturer want to make everything so much different.
Yeah.
And then another huge thing for manufacturing were the clean rooms, the regulations on the clean rooms. Holy cow. He told me about it beforehand and I was like, okay, whatever. You don't realize it till you're in the middle of it. It's just like, my goodness. And even regulations on the machines that we had to have through different places called like NADCAP or OSHA or and NADCAP's just a fun name for the aerospace industry. So AS 9100, stuff like that. All those audits were just insane what you needed to do. So it looks like Mr. Pants has jumped in. Just want to let you know. Yep. Look at him. Get a little crazy. But, you know, I mean, that stuff was a lot of fun. It really was because I like learning new things.
Yeah.
You know, I like continuing to expand my mind, you know, and my abilities and my resume or whatever you want to call it, you know, and it was just so intriguing. And learning a lot of those things, I think really is going to help me down the road. And it's going to, because it just opens my mind. It makes me think about so many other angles and obstacles that could happen. Because aerospace, you got to think of almost the worst case scenario. I mean, the absolutely worst case scenario and work that way. You know, before it was like, okay, this is what's good. You know, we don't want this to happen, but this is what we're building off of. And it's almost like you want to build off the worst just so you have every single point taken care of, you know? So it was good times.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I'd look at the background, you know, first in the casino because the uptime is ultra critical, right?
Yeah.
And because of the UPS and the other things that you have to do to keep it going. And then you go into the manufacturing where the uptime is maybe downtime is not quite as critical or as important just because you're not running 24/7 sometimes. But needless to say, the dollar throughput in an hour is significant in some of these manufacturing places for sure. So and then when you talk about too, most people don't understand the complexity in a modern CNC machine and what it would take to build a proper preventative maintenance plan from the ground up on something. And that's to do that had to be quite a technical challenge for you and your team. So when you were doing this, and I'm going to put a couple of comments up here because someone's showing Ira how to actually, Robert Murray, he was on our live this morning showing Ira how to do that.
Robert,
Maybe
you're not helping us right now.
Yeah, so we'll see if we're getting pictures in here pretty soon. And then Ron, and they're starting to talk about the neon pants, which the Seahawks will have neon pants, and they'll be expandable.
Ron, you need to get neon green. Just remember that. That would work well with your wardrobe. I think we'd appreciate that. Yep. It goes really good with Bitcoin too. So between raw neon green pants and Bitcoin, man, 100%, man, you're all over that.
Yeah, we're good with that. We're good with that for sure. So, other than you've talked a bit about this too, and we've been talking about a lot of technical stuff. But one of the things that you've talked a lot about in your video and podcasts and live stream with other people is that leadership and culture. And so when you were talking about when you're in the manufacturing place, would it really be the start where you really got to experience that more deeply because you were building this team from the ground up, or where do you think that really started with you?
That started with me in the casinos. I worked in a department for a little bit that was just very toxic. It was very bad, and it made it tough, and then that person left, new person came in who was a very servant leader. I just love that leadership style. Lead with empathy, lead with compassion, but make sure we're getting the work done, but enjoy what we're doing. And I remember they took me, then I got promoted up to a management level, and went to a trade show conference, sat in the keynote speaker. And I remember the keynote speaker was like, do you remember your good managers? Everybody raises their hand. Do you remember your bad managers? Have you had a bad one? 80% of the crowd, 90% raise their hand. He goes, do you remember getting yelled at? Do you remember, this happening? You remember that happening? These people say, raise your hand. He goes, people raising your hand. If you want to be a good leader, don't be that person. That's all it took for me. It was just like, duh, but it like ching, because if you never really been in it, you don't realize it, and a lot of people at that time, this is what, 10, 15 years ago, was still kind of the old school mentality. It was, you're working for a company for 30 or 40 years.
Yeah.
I'm going to bully you. I don't care what you say. It's my way or the highway, and, now with this day and age of social media and recruiters being out there and jobs just coming at you at every angle, that obviously changes, and it brings more of the servant leadership and empathy and compassion in. And I'm glad I hit it at the time I did, because I got to see the old school way and I'm getting to see the new school way. So I'm right in the middle of it. So it wasn't like I fell into the old school way, because that's how it always been. It was just, hey, I'm in the middle. This is cool. And my mindset, Damon, was, listen, this younger generation, this is what they want. This is how they want to be led. Fine. I'm going to do it because of the fact these are going to be the leaders 10, 15 years from now. These are the people I'm going to have to rely on. So why am I going to just stay stubborn and stay in this way? Or am I going to expand my mind and get ahead of some of these people who right now are starting to understand and struggling because they've been doing something for 30 years and now they have to totally change who they are to keep a leadership role because they just don't fit in anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what do you think? I mean, because it's a much different thing leading maintenance folks and technicians than it is, say, software developers or lawyers or medical professionals. What are some of the things that you really learned that, because you had a wide range of probably people that were doing, could be doing janitorial services, and you had people that were doing high level, machine debug. And
I've led people from anywhere to like a call center type thing where all they're doing is sitting at desks. I've led janitorial crews, metrology crews, fleet crews, and maintenance crews. And each one of them is very different. Maintenance crews are a lot more rougher. You can talk in a lot more vulgar way to them. And they're cool with it. Sense of humors are different. And I'm not meaning this bad against anybody, but it just is. When you work around more of the corporate world people, you treat them a different way because of the fact you're in a corporate world. Corporate's a little different. It's not, it's not rough around the edges. It's very cultural driven in that way. Of you don't tell crazy jokes, you do this, you're here to do your job, you get your job done, and you make sure you know who the right people are to talk to. So casinos obviously is a different way because yes, you need to get the job done, you need to keep the casino running, but what's the main point of the casino? You want people, it's a party atmosphere. You want people to have fun. So what we really did was built our team into having fun with the people out on the floor, the patrons on the floor, but obviously getting your work done. Like I wanted my teams to walk through. I would walk through the floor. I would know the regulars and they would know my name. And I just go up to him and just use this as an example, Mr. I see Ron Craig on the side. So, hey, Ron, how's it going today? Winning anything, losing anything? Oh, no, I'm losing my ass. And you just be like, man, sorry to hear. Hey, can I go grab you a pop or something and bring it back to you? And you just keep those communications because you know what? It was my job to keep them in that casino. It was my job to keep them in. So you worked with those people. You wanted to be with them. You wanted to build those relationships, to make them feel special, to make them feel like they're there. And the team's the same way. You want them to enjoy it. Go on the floor and enjoy your time in between your jobs. I mean, you see people winning and people are, that happens a lot. You walk over and see what's going on. And I'm like, congratulate them. Tell them that's awesome. And I know people didn't like hearing this. I'm like, tell them, thank you for taking our money. That's awesome. What are you going to do with the money? Are you coming back? Are you going to buy something? What are you going to do? Are you going to reinvest? I mean, just enjoy it. So, and then manufacturing, oh my goodness, I mean, it gets intense, especially when you have an autoclave down that costs you $60,000 a run. I mean, replacing mechanical seals and everything on them, and you got obviously the main leadership or executives coming down. When's it going to be done? When's it going to be done? When you tell them this is going to take 4 to 6 hours, this is part of the process. But an hour later, how much longer do we got? Because they have to and I understand because they have to navigate the client.
They have to navigate the client.
And the shipping that's already scheduled to happen for the next day is going to get pushed off now. There's a lot of other things. So I'm not going to lie. There was a lot of F-bombs being thrown. There was a lot of this, but you know what? But at the end of the day, we can go out and get a beer and just laugh with each other and enjoy it. Because one thing I try to teach all my team members is it's only work, man. Don't take it personal. It's work. We all have to make a living. If we want to live a lifestyle, we got to do this stuff. So let's enjoy it as much as we can, and don't take things personal. They get personal. Bring it to the office. Let's hash it out. Let's get it figured out and move on. I mean, we're going to see each other more than we're going to see our families. So let's just enjoy this ride while we have it, and that's been very successful for me doing that. So been very blessed.
Well, Robert Murray had a question here that I think is really interesting. And I don't know if he's asking this in regards to facilities management, but that would be interesting. Remote facilities management.
I've worked for a company where I've had multiple locations across the country. So doing a lot of these remote things with the vendors or with the local teams, it's very difficult. I'm not going to lie. You have to rely a lot on the local team. And sometimes the local team doesn't understand what you're talking about because they're not there for maintenance. They're there to push the product out the door. A lot of Zoom calls, a lot of FaceTimes, a lot of just, when you're in a role like I've been in, you've been in, sometimes you get stuck in it's common sense to me, but it doesn't mean it's common sense to somebody else. And Yeah, and it's sometimes that's very hard because when you're used to being around people where you can talk the lingo and the lingo's flying and that's all you do, and now all of a sudden you're talking lingo to, let's say, a logistics person who is like, "What are you talking about?" You know,
Yeah.
Robert, I found, me personally, it's building the relationship with those local teams, being able to build great relationships and trust your vendors. That's the hardest thing to do. It's finding that trust, especially when you're 3,000 miles away.
Yeah.
And kind of sitting back and realizing that where you were maybe 10 years ago or 15 years ago and not understanding the same things and trying to think how you need to explain it in layman's terms. I mean, it is a struggle, and it's always going to be a struggle unless you have a facilities person on staff at that particular property. It's going to be a struggle, but God, there was a lot of FaceTimes, a lot of Zoom time, man. I'm telling you right now, that's taking up. Show me the thing, exactly. This is how you do this, this is how you do that. And oh my goodness, telling them, hey, grab the channel lock. What's a channel lock? Oh my goodness. Okay.
Well, I was talking to Jacob Warren, who does IT stuff. And we were talking about this, I don't know, 6 months ago. Mm-hmm. And he was talking about how the video has changed the way things can be done, because what you're talking about, the simple things can be taken care of with these kind of deals, whereas you used to fly a technician out all the time. Mm-hmm. But the video allows you to take care of some of these more simple items. And he said what they do in the IT industry now is your technicians are only going to the problems that they can't solve with a FaceTime. And he was using FaceTime in what he does, which I think is really cool, because you don't have somebody going out there to swap out a router that someone with, can unplug and plug some wires back in can probably do in the IT world. That saves the client time and money, saves the technician time and, time that they could be doing on the hard projects that they really needs their expertise. And it's interesting in some respects.
I think it is. And I really think it's what a lot of companies really got to start thinking about. Absolutely correct right there. Yeah. And I think a lot of companies really need to start investing in having a local person, a maintenance person. You don't have to be the highly skilled ones. You can have a mid-level one, but somebody who understands the basics to where I can zoom in, because like you said, like in the manufacturing world, how many times did we fly in somebody from North Carolina or Florida or wherever because they're the expert in it, and $4,500 to get room and board, travel, rental car, per diem, bam, just $4,500 on top of the bill, just one minimum right there, So, and if you're flying them in multiple, 10, 20, 10, 15 times a year, I mean, just on their bill, you're looking at $100,000. Why can't you hire a maintenance person at 75 grand, have them be able to FaceTime that person? They're going to learn. It's going to be a training session. Yeah, we're going to get a little bit of bill time, a couple hours billing, but you rather pay somebody $110 an hour sitting in their office video chatting with them than spending 15, 16 grand flying them out to fix it, where basically your team's going to do a lot of the work with them because they need help because only one person came out. Yeah. So, absolutely. I mean, it's a new era, and as much as
and Robert's in Alaska. That's why.
It's got to be complicated up there.
Well, I mean, you think about big equipment. You think about, okay, I got a huge cat that's broken down out here, and I don't know why the hell it's not moving. And if I can get on a video call with someone that knows what the hell they're doing, and they can point me to it, and I know how to run, to wrench on the thing, I might fix it.
And I don't know what the pandemic's doing up in Alaska, to be honest with you, but if they have to bring somebody in from the mainland, it's an issue. But number two, they have weather to deal with majority of the year. So that's just another thing, oh man, I don't envy you at all, man. Up there.
I had talked to somebody about in the augmented reality world a while ago, and it's been a few years ago now, but we were talking about things. They were saying something similar that, if you have a piece of equipment or like a complicated HVAC system on the top of a building, and you have like you said, a maintenance person that understands kind of what an HVAC system does, and you could flick up the augmented reality, they can look at it and it can show them what to be checking. But it looks at the pictures, and just some of this stuff that's coming out now is going to revolutionize the way that maintenance is done on equipment. And it's really cool to see.
I think what's going to happen a lot too is a lot of companies are going to invest more in their CMMS systems and BMS systems to where you can monitor all this from a desk.
Yeah.
You could see everything. I mean, you can't tell if a belt's broken or, if it's leaking or not. Well, you might be able to, but you're going to utilize all your amperages. You're going to utilize how hot everything's running, your oil levels, your hydraulic levels. They're out there. The companies who have them are way ahead of the game now. They are way ahead of the game, and, these companies, I saw something Robert put on the side here, Zoom stock.
Look at how cold it is where he's
at. That ain't cool, dude. I mean,
that's cold, dude. I'm sorry.
And sorry, dude, it's 88 degrees right now where I'm at. So I'm perfectly happy with that. So, but he put Zoom stock and he's right. It's the people who were investing in this stuff prior to this, who had that vision before this pandemic happened, are way ahead of the game, and they're going to excel quick. And it's going to cause a lot of these companies who weren't there to drop a lot of money. First, they have to drop pandemic money that they weren't budgeting for. Now they're going to have to drop this other type of money because they're going to have to basically replace the vendor coming out or the vendor flying in. So they have to find other reasons. It's all top heavy on front, but in the long run, it saves a ton of money. But you deal with these owners every day. The first thing they see is, this is $500,000. That's all they see. They don't understand what the next 5 years, how much money that's actually going to bring into them. So, but I'm not the one writing the checks, so it's easy for me to say it. So,
well, it's, and you're right about the Zoom, the virtual, the video, all this stuff. I mean, we were lucky enough at Exit Your Way that in 2019, we decided that we were going to do virtual purely from the standpoint of, we had people that were not living in the same area. And the fact that in Seattle, for me to go from where I live to say where you used to live, and that's, what is that, 40 miles, maybe 45?
If that, miles? It takes 3 hours.
Yeah, it takes 3 hours.
3 to 4 hours. Yeah.
What the hell? I can do twice the client. I can do twice as good a job for the clients virtually. And I can go see them once in a while. I still do that, well, other than the crap now. But, we can still do that. But you're right. This virtual infrastructure that's in place with these and these people that are going to invest in this, in their things, like they're controlling the machines and the IT systems and some of the other stuff that the maintenance people and outside people are all looking at together and like they need to be, it is going to revolutionize the way that these things are managed. And
I won't lie, at the beginning of this pandemic, when it was work from home, being a maintenance person, that was a struggle, because when you're a maintenance person, you're used to being on the floor, you're used to being down there, you're used to doing the things, and I took on a job in Arizona where, it was more of a corporate thing, but I still would fly to different properties. Well, that got shut down for a couple months. Working from home, not meeting these people in person, not seeing what was going on. Oh man, it was a struggle for me, and me, I'm a people person. I love being around people, but I mean, it's gone to grow on with me a little more, I'm in a different adventure now. And I think it's all about who you surround yourself with, who you're working with and working for, that makes the experience a little better. But at first, we thought we were just going to work from home for a couple of weeks. So we're like, okay, cool. And a couple of weeks turned into a month. Then a month turned into 2 months. Then 2 months turned in, the end of the year. We're like, what the hell is going on? It was just, it was tough, and I live somewhere where this, we're pretty much open. So seeing all these other people at work doing all this other stuff and being at home, it kind of was a struggle, but it's all good.
Yeah.
I learned a lot from it. Like you said before, I mean, this was a great learning tool for me, learning the virtual way.
Yeah.
I mean, we had it within departments in a building that was 3 miles from me. If I couldn't understand, I would just get in and drive over there. Right now, if I had something going on in Florida, I just couldn't get up and drive over there. It still had to figure it out. So, it's just, it's been great to, figure it out.
It's allowed us to bridge geography. Robert's sitting in Alaska now watching this, and we're sitting here. You're in Arizona. I'm in Seattle, and or Washington. It's so I'm talking states. But the thing is, you're doing your adventure you're doing now, and this is funny too. Not funny, but Robert's 220 miles from the stoplight.
Well, the question is, being in Alaska, are you a Seahawk fan? That's the question.
Yeah,
I mean, that's your closest team, my friend. Yeah. So, well, I'm sorry, I'll take that back. You got the Canadian Football League that probably Vancouver, or who's got a team? British Columbia is probably closer, but we're talking about real football, 4 downs, not 3.
Oh no, I like Canadian football too.
It's kind of different, isn't it? Yeah, a lot of strategy.
Big field too.
Yeah.
But anyway, so what are you doing now, Nick? I know that you're kind of doing some contract work now. You're looking for other things to do full time. So
I'm looking to do I'm looking to do some facility work full time now. I'm doing some consulting work with Impulse Consulting. I'm going to help them. They brought me on as a director of business growth, so I'm going to help them grow their brand, help them grow their department over some of the strategies they do to help people with their profiles and lead generations and stuff. So it's gonna be fun. It's a little different. It's a little different for me, but I've been talking with them for a while. I've been friends with the company, and we've had some amazing conversations and great conversations over the last year. So I'm very grateful that they're letting me do this, in the middle time here, to get some stuff going and everything, and just glide into my next opportunity. But if this opportunity works out well, like we're hoping it does, actually, this might turn into something totally different. But I like to freelance for multiple companies. I have some friends to do that. Good friend at Bowman Digital Media, freelances for a lot of companies, does some great work. So it just, like he says, don't put all your eggs in one basket. So that might be the route I need to go now. So but facilities is what I know. It's what I'm great at. It's building cultures and departments is what I really excel at. And, I love doing those things. So, something's going to land right, and it's going to be great. And, it's going to be well worth it. We're sitting pretty good right now. So I'm very fortunate on that. We were prepared in case something, in case we wanted to go a different direction in the career, so we were prepared. But it's going to be a lot of fun, Damon. I mean, I'm really going to enjoy it, and I'm going to learn something new again.
Yeah,
and that's absolutely.
It is one of those things. It's a new learning experience, and it'll be good for you. And I remember for me it was 11 years ago now when I stepped out on my own. I had no freaking idea what I was going to do. I just knew that I couldn't keep working for people that didn't care about people. And
that's huge.
I'll just stop there.
No, I always say, you need to work people. When you lead, you need to treat people like humans, not like numbers. But when you get in that numbers game, it's miserable. It is miserable, and I've been in the numbers game. I've been in places where people treat you like humans, and, and it's just, I took notice. I took notes. I know how to treat people. I know how I didn't want to be treated. So absolutely never going to treat anybody that way, man. It's just, and, got a great support system. So this is going to be, it's going to be a fun next, 2 to 4 weeks to see where, which path I'm led down, which way I'm supposed to go, and what's supposed to happen with my life. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. Really am.
So now we're gonna get on to the important topic.
Yes, go Hawks.
The Hawks, yeah. Go Hawks. First of all, just have to say go Hawks. And what do you think's going to happen? Because Arizona beat us last time, and they're kind of that nemesis team.
That was kind of I hate to call it a fluke, but God, you want to talk about every possible scenario that can happen for a team to win, happen. You're up by 14 with 3 minutes left, and you give up the lead. Then you go into overtime. Then you get into overtime, and you throw an interception. Then you get in overtime. They miss a field goal, and you get the ball back. It's like, oh, this is great. Then you go down, and you turn the ball over again, which is horrible, and it's just it was tough to watch because it was a very winnable game.
Yeah.
Very. Arizona's great. They got lucky last week with a Hail Mary at the end, but you know what? Luck is part of the game. That's what people need to get over. It's part of the game. And when you're good, and like I tell people, like especially when I'm golfing, if you're having a good round and you're shooting around par or under par or getting close to that, you have to have some luck in that to make that happen.
Yeah, no doubt. Robert said he never realized I'm a leader until boom. And I think that I put that up there because I think every leader is put in that damn situation. It's like, oh, I'm leading people? What do you mean I'm leading people?
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, God, this is a little different. But
no, I love it. I remember when I realized it, and it was great because for me, I took on more responsibility. I felt like it's my job to train these people to get to the point where they can take my job. That's the way I look at it. Come take my job. Because if you train him that good, you're going to have an amazing team. And don't worry. If you're that good at what you do, something will land in your lap. That's the thing. So now keep it up, Robert, man. That's some good stuff, man. I mean, apparently Robert's the only one watching us. He goes,
we got a few people watching, but you know what?
Flooded.
Hey, appreciate him a lot.
Yeah, that is awesome, man. Great stuff.
We got the game coming up here at
game time.
5:20 Pacific. We're going to be on here. We're going to be, we invested in some electronics since we didn't, we couldn't go to games this year. We brought the games to us a little better sound, a little bigger TV. So
nice. We got our sound bar outside. We have sorry, Robert, but we do outdoor living down here in Arizona. So I'll be outside eating dinner, watching the game, enjoying a couple of adult beverages on my back porch.
There you go.
I'll be in a sweatshirt because it still feels cold to us at 80 degrees. So I'm just going to tell you that right now. I mean, there was some stat that came out. I could be wrong on the exact number, but it was something like we went 117 days at 110 plus degrees. It was it was insane. So it was weird when it got down to 85. I'm like,
that's cold. That's chilly. I gotta put this up here.
That a boy.
Not just
us. Hey, Ira, you see this? Ira, Professor Pete.
Professor Pete.
We're at. So I mean,
yeah.
But no, good stuff. I saw he played hockey, man. Great sport, man. Good work, man. Seattle got a hockey team now, the Kraken.
Yeah, the Kraken.
So I might just get a jersey just because that's just an awesome logo.
the logo and stuff. I'm jacked about it. Well, Nick, it has been awesome to have you on today.
Oh, absolutely, man.
I just love to be able to come on and talk, and we can talk technical crap forever. And it's great to see what you're doing, and we're going to keep in touch and keep people updated on what's going on. But hey, appreciate Robert, everyone else that's been listening, thanks a lot. Just happy to have you on and talk with you. I'm just honored to get you on and let you talk about what you do. It's just cool.
Man. I really appreciate it, Damon. I mean, we've had a nice friendship now for over a year now, and we really respect each other. So, I mean, this is great when we're able to do stuff like this with each other, because when it all comes down to it, we have a good time. And that's the biggest part of this. And hey, if something we said can help somebody else out there, then awesome. I mean, that's just great. So,
cool. All right, man. Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
And if the Raiders aren't playing the Seahawks, I guess they can win too.
Yeah, we'll give it to Ira. So
Yeah.
we'll
All
let him
right.
have that.
See
Take it
everyone
easy,
later.
guys.
All right.